Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of Onca Wildlife Centre. In today's episode, we're building multiple habitats and exhibits. So at the start of the video, you'll see me building for the green iguana and also the Amazonian giant centipede. And also in the second half, you'll see me build for the three-toed sloth, the butterflies, and also the capuchin monkey. So as you can tell, I have been a busy boy in the recent week. But let's see how these guys got into our centre. So, Ashlynn Finch, our head zookeeper here and owner of Onca Wildlife Centre, wanted to include some smaller critters that are less well known in the South American jungle. These being the Amazonian giant millipede, the green iguana, including an albino one, the white-faced capuchin monkey, and the three-toed sloth, as well as some of the native butterflies she has attracted to the centre. So, Newt Austin, our abroad researcher, has decided to bring the green iguana here. So, the green iguana doesn't necessarily come from nearby where we currently are in the southeast of the Amazon rainforest. It's rather from the northern end. So, we have imported some from the Caribbean, which have come down, and highlights the importance of animals that are found elsewhere, not just in the local area where we can educate the locals. So it just gives them more variety. And Ashleen really wanted to emphasize the importance of the smaller critters like the giant centipede, so she can kind of people, guests can understand where to gauge how much important they actually are within their environment. Whilst Newt Austin recommended the three-toed sloth to attract more visitors, as in the recent couple of days, visitor numbers have dropped down due to the recent import of the bears. They're not too sure why the bears have reduced visitors. They're not 100% sure. I think people think that rather than the local zoo, they're becoming a bit too big. So Ashleen has decided to downsize to the smaller animals for the meantime. And construction in the background has resulted in the creation of the flooded forest dome, which has been taking a very, very long time to construct. So yeah, as you can see in the past week, I'm probably a little bit later with my upload schedule. This is mainly because I've been doing a lot of off-work camera to kind of decorate the area. So as when I left to build the bear habitat last time, I decided to do it in the most awkward area of the zoo, an area which needed to be built for, but in general just wasn't generally the infrastructure wasn't there. So I had to adapt and I did a lot of work off camera to kind of help the environment feel a lot more like they're in the rainforest. Before it felt like they were in the open plain, but now when you go to see the bears, it is so good. It's my favorite habitat I've ever built for. I cannot emphasize how cool it is. Be sure to check out that video because you'll see how amazing it looks afterwards. It's just, ah, it's so good. I'm sorry for bragging, but it's definitely my best exhibit I've ever done. Definitely compared to the platypus habitat I've made previously. So yeah, as you also heard, I have built a new dome. It's more of a sphere really that I've just sunk into the ground. But it took me so long to make. It probably took me a solid like 3 days to make. It's mainly just because of the shape and the hexagonal sort of bits. While it looks easy, it's actually super, super difficult. I had to actually nearly place everything individually for like ages, and then I could copy and paste it. But it just took absolutely ages. I do not recommend building out of that material. It is just god awful. I hate it so much. I never recommend doing it to anyone. So yeah, as I said, I just built a sphere and then sunk it in the ground to the perfect thing, and then just flattened the terrain inside of the ground, and then built around it. So, as I said as well, that's also going to be a flooded forest. So that's going to include animals like the caimans we've got in the game. I forgot what caiman, spectacled caiman. I think there might be one more as well that I can't think of. But I've definitely included crocodile in there. I'm also thinking about adding like tapirs maybe. So like the bird's tapir. I'm not too sure if I want to include the anteater in there, but I think that's going to come on the outside of the enclosure. I want the flooded forest to feel like a flooded forest. I don't want it to feel like something I've just made up where anteaters live there as well. So I've also done a lot of path work off camera. So around the new area, as you can probably see in about a minute, you see like the pathways around. That's going to be towards the area which I'm going to call the like Jaguar Jungle, where visitors, when they come out of the burrow or enter the burrow, they can still take the Jaguar Jungle, which basically takes you on a adventure to see some ruins of where some jaguars have been living. I know it's a bit of a basic sort of concept, but I just find it so cool. And specifically, I don't know what zoo it is that has a lot of them, but I've been to some where the ruins are very, very prominent and very, very cool. Um, one of my favourite habitats I've seen, the jaguar habitat, is the one at Chester Zoo. The way when you look down, you kind of look down into like this ravine, and when I went there, you can see the climbing structure, and the jaguar went across the climbing structure in the middle, and it came down to had a little sip of water and then pounced back up. It was just super cool, and I really want to sort of mimic that in a way. And I don't want to have a jaguar house. I know there's like a lot of big cat houses. I kind of want to move away from that. I want it to feel like the jaguar actually lives there. I don't want it to feel like they're kind of just like in this environment. So I don't want visitors to see their indoor area really, which there hasn't been much except from the burrow recently, like the giant otters and the nine-banded armadillo. I have also fitted custom signage across most habitats now. The only one I actually haven't done is for the butterflies. I wanted to create some special ones, but I haven't just come around to it yet. I've only done the stumpery signs outside the front. And I also want to do some pollination signs, not just the stumpery signs as well. But I thought, right now, let's move on to some of the facts, which is mainly going to be for like the mix between the capuchin and the sloth. As the sloth, maybe I might build again for, but the capuchin monkey, probably not. So the three-toed sloth is one of the slowest but smartest animals in the mammal kingdom. In fact, they are so slow that green algae are known to grow on its shaggy coat. The sloth also is one of the most dangerous animals in the jungle, where they actually have these extremely long claws, which not only help them hang from treetops, they also are incredibly, incredibly dangerous. That it's so long and so sharp that it can cause quite a big wound if you get caught in the middle of one of the claws. Whilst in comparison to that, the white-faced capuchin monkey is incredibly fast, they're very lively, and they very, very energetic. So they're known for their agility, quick movements. So it's quite good to have these two in a habitat together as they really contrast each other. I don't know if any zoo actually houses these two together, but I know it's quite common for sloths to be in a mixed habitat with monkeys. For example, I know London Zoo house their sloths in a habitat with a bunch of monkeys and marmosets. So I don't think it's uncommon for these two to be kept in similar conditions and sloths to be kept with very energetic monkeys. So the white-faced capuchin is very, very social creature. They live in groups. They live in groups of up to 18 to 20 monkeys, and they are very, very like old living. They can live for a very long time. They can live up to 30 years. And compare that to the sloth, they are very, very similar. Even despite their size, it's quite amazing that they can still live for that long. So the white-faced capuchin tends to live in more tropical evergreen and very dry deciduous forests. They're very fussy with their foods, similar to the sloth. They don't really want to specifically go for the first thing they see. They're quite fussy but still varied, so they like specific fruits, insects, even small vertebrates, and anything that really just helps them sort of move. And both of them, luckily, are very, very important to their ecosystem, which means they are high on the list for conservation. So they are very, very well looked after, and specifically the white-faced capuchins has a big threat with the illegal wildlife trade and just the wildlife trade as in pets, markets, and stuff like that. They're very, very common in the pet trade, which is a bit sad. They're not necessarily kept in conditions like we have in our zoo. They might be kept within more home-like conditions, so more domestic use and stuff like that, which can be a little bit sad. While the sloth is also the same, but they tend to people don't really just look after a sloth because, they're cute and they're lousy. It's more to kind of just like represent the importance of them and educate people, which is quite good, I guess, about that species. I think that's about it for our facts. And I think one of the important things in this habitat is the way I've incorporated two walkthrough habitats and the capuchin monkeys. It's quite difficult to kind of gauge how to start this, and specifically with the sloths. I spent ages tweaking this, which is why you didn't see it at the start of the video of the area when I started. I just could not find the right spot to put this. So I've decided to plonk it right next to the what do you call it, the giant otters. So it was very important that I had that, and the inspiration behind it was really lackluster. I really struggled finding a sloth habitat that isn't necessarily a walkthrough. Um, I know it sounds a bit strange, but there's a couple that I can think of right now, but they're not specifically what I envisioned. And the capuchin monkey, again, not that many habitats for them, so I definitely struggled finding inspiration. So I kind of just went on my own for this one, and one of my main bits of this habitat was I really wanted it to be able to be walked through. So I know the capuchin is known to interact with guests, and they're very, very active, and they're in the pet tray and stuff like that. So I did want people to kind of get that interaction with them and kind of understand them. And I think one of the best things about this habitat is the fact that people can actually, as soon as they exit the burrow, they can leave straight away. They don't have to continue on, which is a really big thing in habitats like this. And I would have wanted, when you go to like a walkthrough habitat and you usually have like a gate, and sometimes you have that button system. This is used more for lemurs, and I feel like that should have been used rather than the PVC curtains, which it used for more animals like butterflies and stuff like that because they struggle getting through, and lizards as well. They do that for, and spiders. So it's very important that I try to find the right amount of walkable space, but also the amount for the animal too. I also copied some of the flowers that are used at the front of the zoo, and I think that's really helpful to kind of just bring it all together. And the flowers are brilliant next to the butterflies because it shows that they pollinate them, and I think that's just a general decent idea if you're building a butterfly habitat to incorporate flowers within there because it just creates a more realistic atmosphere. I'm afraid this is the end of today's video. So if you did enjoy today's video, please make sure you leave a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you'd like to see more. I'm thinking in the next video I might start a new prehistoric kingdom habitat, but if you think that's a good idea, please let me know down in the comments. I saw the recent update for the game, so I'm thinking that it definitely relates to my one, so I might go back to that. So yeah, I will see you on the next one. Bye!